Hey guys, and welcome to the very first episode of this podcast. My name is Victoria, I'm 21 years old and I live in Norway. I live in a really small town with my boyfriend and my dog. You won't be able to see my dog today because I'm sitting in a kindergarten filming this. But I hope you guys can see my dog in a future episode. I am really a dog person or a cat person. And you will probably see that in this podcast, as when I move to sit outside on our porch, you will probably hear my dog, and you will probably also see her, because she really loves people. She really wants to just sit and cuddle, and she can't stand me talking to people, or as in this case, myself. Then she just starts barking and comes. So that's why I'm sitting in the kindergarten right now. I wanted to podcast for a very long time, and I never had the equipment. I still don't, but I'm gonna do the best with what I got. I was also really scared to talk on camera. As you can hear, my English is not that good, but I'm gonna just take it. I'm just gonna go for it, because this is something I wanted to do for a long time. So I figured, why not try an episode? If no one watches, that's totally fine. I will practice my English and video filming skills, which I probably should practice anyway for other stuff. In this podcast, I'm gonna talk a lot about knitting. I'll probably talk a bit about crocheting. I do some pattern designing, and I also do a lot of markets. So you might see that I make a lot of things that are just the same thing over and over, but I do knit a huge amount of things. Today is July 7th. It's currently 9 p.m. in the evening, and I write down everything that I knit. I started with that January this year, just writing down absolutely everything that I knit. Once it's off the needles and all the ends are woven in. So, and currently this year I have knit 190 things. Of course, there's a lot of smaller items, but there's also some sweaters in there. Like this one, for example. I'm going to show this and talk more about this later. I have a finished sweater to show you, so I'm going to talk about that in a bit. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say, so let's just jump into the podcast. The first thing I want to talk about are some finished items. I looked in my book, and from June 1st until now, I have finished 40 something items. Plus, I have several works in progress. So I will just start. A lot of the items are the same or really similar. So I'm not going to go like deep in on all the items, but I hope to show you some of them and give you some inspiration. The first item that I have is this hat. I think this is a large children's size. This is a pattern that I'm working on writing up as we speak and doing the math on. So I'm pretty sure this is like a 6 to 10 years old or something size. I have to measure it and do the math, but that's what I think. I have knit some bubble hats previously, but then I saw a YouTube video on how to make a bubble, and I just cast on whatever amount of stitches and I just knit. I want to make it more, I don't know how to say it, but I want to write it down into a pattern with different sizes, because whenever I'm at markets, a lot of people stop at my booth and I see them like 1, 2, 3. I can see them counting on my stuff, like, oh, how many stitches does she have on this? How did she do this? So I just want to write it up so more people can enjoy having a bubble hat. There are probably tutorials out there or patterns on how to knit a bubble hat, but I just want to make a version that's mine, because this is one of my favorite items to make. When we are on the bubble hat, I also have this one. This one is a bun beanie. As you can see, there's a hole in there. This is the first of the bubble hats that I cast on for like trying to figure out the math of this pattern. And I was running out of yarn at the end here because I need something else with this yarn. I'm going to show you that in a bit. And I was like, well, okay, I don't need to make it a full hat. I will just make a bun beanie. I always have my hair up in a ponytail, and I love wearing hats because I don't usually comb my hair as well as I should, so my hair is almost always a mess, and I also have to wear it up for work. So a bun beanie would be great to have. This is also my size and a color that I really like. I'm not sure if this color, I don't know, suits me. It probably doesn't in this light, but I really love this color. I don't think the camera is doing it justice. I'm just filming on my phone right now. I have a camera and I want to use that for filming podcasts. And it's not a bad camera. It's actually like quite a decent camera, and I used to use it a lot for filming and taking pictures, but I just can't get it to focus right now. I don't know what's the problem with it. So yeah, a bun beanie of the bubble beanie, and this will also the pattern, which is gonna be released probably, I don't know, in 2-3 weeks. I will have it out to my testers this week, and you will also have instructions on how to make your hat a bun beanie, so you can have your ponytail in the top. The item that I was making that made me like almost run out of yarn on that yellow hat was this. This is the bubble cowl, also a pattern by myself. I really, really love this pattern. I don't know why, I love the bubbles, and I love it. Does seem small, but this is like the size that I want my cowls to be. I want them to hug my neck, because I used to wear a lot of scarves and they are like bigger and more chunky, but my hair will always like, and it will be a mess trying to fix it when I get home because it will be so tangled. So I just like my cowls to be snug. This pattern is coming out Friday, July 10th. I think that's July 10th. It's coming out on this Friday, and the pattern does include instructions on how to adjust the pattern so that you can have a taller cowl or a wider cowl. This is knit on size 5.5 millimeter needles. I think that's the US 9. I'm not sure because we don't really use the US system in Norway. And that's also a huge, I don't want to say an issue, but it's making it slightly more problematic when I write patterns, because you think you understand the yarn system and the needles, but then you realize you don't. I always thought this was worsted weight yarn. Turns out it's Aran. You could also use a thick worsted. I don't think it would be a problem. Some of my testers did that and their cowls look beautiful. So I'm still trying to navigate the US needle system and yarn weights and all that stuff. What's confusing me is that the US starts, I don't know if they start on 0 or if they start on a 1. And as I have understood, in Australia they start the other way. They start at a high number and they go down to a low number. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's the same with crochet. I don't know how to crochet in Norwegian for first, and I watch YouTube videos to learn how to crochet, but I always forget that there's a difference between UK terms and US terms. So I typically just see, oh, it's an English video, it's fine. But of course I hear that they speak, if they speak American English or if they speak UK English, but I don't think about it. I just think that, oh, it's English, and then they'll be like, oh, do a double crochet, and I'll do a double crochet and the American way, but then it was a UK video and I'll just mess up. It's a mess. I'm still trying to navigate the system, and I hope I will get there kind of soon. The next thing I have to show you, I'm gonna bunch some of these items up because... Oh, I forgot to show you the yarn on the cowl and the hats. It's this yarn. It's a Norwegian only yarn. It's 40% alpaca, 40% merino, and 20% nylon. And I really think this is like my favorite yarn right now. I ordered 24 skeins of this, and a Norwegian skein is 50 grams. So whenever I say I ordered 24 skeins, it's really just 12 US skeins. And I ordered it just because I wanted to make the pattern for the hat and the cowl, like the bubble hat and cowl, but I didn't have any yarn that I thought looked nice in that. I had some yarn that I used for headbands and also some sweaters, but that yarn, when making the bubbles, it was just catching on the stitch below, so it was really hard to make the bubbles. So I had to order this yarn. But what better excuse to go and buy some new yarn? And then I have some beanies. This is also a pattern I designed myself. This is called the Pez beanie. And you can find all my patterns on Ravelry. My name is Victoria Instanes Markussen. I will link my Ravelry shop in the oh, a mosquito. I will link my Ravelry shop and also my Instagram in the box below, so you can see and find the patterns if you want. This is called the Pez beanie. It's chunky hat knit on, I don't know the US size, but it's 8mm needles. And Drops Eskimo is the yarn. I don't think you have that yarn as available in the US. And I'm trying to think of what yarn my US testers use for this. And there are cars driving by and they're looking at me. What the fuck is that woman sitting over there with knitted hats and boxes around her with stuff? Well, okay, I don't care. I'm trying to think of what the yarn my US testers used for this. I can't think of it right now, but it will be in the pattern. Or on the Ravelry on the page. It should say what yarn my US testers use for this. It's a bulky or super bulky yarn. I don't know the US yarn system. I'm sorry. And this yarn is 100% wool. And I have this hat, which is a male size. Then I have these two, who are female. And I have to show you this. It's not really picking it up as I wanted to, but this yarn is so pretty in color, and it's also 100% wool, so it will keep you warm. Then I have this small cute hat in a children's size. And as you're gonna see now, I obviously don't need 3 bubble hats, 4 Pez beanies for myself, but I do a lot of markets, and I also have like the Norwegian version of Etsy and the Facebook page where I sell. So that's why I need to make at least some of the same item. The next thing I have to show you. Now I had some more of these. I don't know where they went, but I'm just gonna show you the 3 that I have here. I had at least 5 of these. Yeah. I don't know. This is more. Right. Oh, I find it. This is the second pattern that I ever did, but I was so scared for so long to write it up, because on the Pez beanie, which was my first ever pattern, there was just knits and purls and knit two together. On this hat, you see the braids. I might not see it that good on that hat because the background is the same color as that. But you see there are braids. And I was super scared. I didn't know how to write the braids. Like drop 3 stitches to the bottom and start crocheting them up, as I said in my pattern at first. So I don't know why I was scared, but I just couldn't figure it out. I was super scared of making my pattern not perfect, and I know this sounds really stupid because your first patterns aren't necessarily gonna be perfect. Well, none of your patterns are necessarily gonna be perfect, but at least not your first when you're still learning. But then I was like, okay, if I can't explain it in English or in Norwegian for that matter, we can film it. So I knit up some samples of the hat before you do the braids, and my boyfriend tried to film it. We filmed it twice. First on my camera and then on my phone. But none of the shots were good. And, like with the camera, it wouldn't focus. No matter what we did, it wouldn't focus on the hat or on my hands or anything really. So we tried on my phone, but with him filming, it was really hard to get the right angle on it. And I was shaking and he was shaking. We live in northern Norway, so it's pretty cold even though it's July 17th. As you can see, I'm wearing a wool sweater on all those mosquitoes. So I knit this. It's knit on DK yarn, 4 and 4.5 millimeter needles. And like, I just have to show you again, I love the braids. I tried it once, but I didn't like it, and probably because I wasn't able to do it correct, to knit cables, but I always wanted a hat with braids. So that's how I figured that pattern out. And I have some more of that same hat. And the blue one, as well as this grey one, is size 3 to 8 years, 100% merino. It's knit with DK yarn, size 4 and 4.5 millimeter needles. Then I have this one. It was the first ever hat I did of this. This is knit with a yarn that I think it's called Drops Lima. I'm pretty sure it's 60% alpaca, 40% wool, or the opposite. I don't know. It's one of my favorite yarns for making like small items like hats and scarves, maybe even sweaters. I haven't tried it for a sweater, but I really do think it would make a really beautiful sweater, this yarn. And it doesn't itch. I think it will keep up really good in the wash, so I think this is a good yarn for sweaters. And you can find this pattern on Ravelry as the Simply Braided Beanie. Eventually this is the same yarn as my sweater. It's the leftovers I had from it. Eventually you will be able to see that I don't know what I was gonna say. No, eventually I figured out I just had to go get a tripod, try and figure out how to film. And I tried for so long because I looked over my entire city. I think I went to like 8 stores, as well as I looked on the internet to try and find like one of those arms so that I could film. Well, my phone is filming now, it's like standing up, but I wanted to film directly over the table like this with my phone for the tutorials to get the right angle. But I can't find it anywhere. So I did find a setup that worked with like a white tablecloth, a small table, and my tripod like tilted forward. So the pattern has a video tutorial on the braid, and it's called the Simply Braided Beanie because the braids are really simple. It looks scary, but they're super simple. I just want to show you. I have a hat here. That's the Simply Braided Beanie. As you can see, this is the back. There are no braids currently because when I have to change DPNs or something, I get really lazy and I just put it away. And the only reason I put this on DPNs is because I needed the needles for something else that I'm going to show you in my whips. I just wanted to show you this when I was talking about this hat. This is how the entire hat looks before you start the braids. And you can see I'm at the very top. And then you drop the stitches and you crochet them up to make the braids. So this is really perfect for like knitting when you watch TV. I had some of my testers knit in the car because it's just stockinette. You just knit in the round. And then you don't do the braids until after. So you can just knit a hat lay it down until you're ready to do the braids. And the first braid is a little bit scary, but once you just start, you can do them really fast. There is no problem doing them at all. And then I got some yarn a few years ago when I worked in the grocery store. And we had a clearance on some like reflex yarn, you know, so that they can see you in the dark if there are cars outside or any other light, really. And we had a clearance on some reflex yarn. I think it was like 3 years ago, maybe. And when there's clearance on yarn, I hoard. Well, I hoard yarn even when it's not on clearance. But when it's on clearance, I really hoard yarn. So I have these 3. They're just a simple moss stitch, if that's even what it's called. Really simple headbands. I have 3 of them in this like orangey color, burgundy, which I guarantee you will see a lot of burgundy in my podcast, and in a turquoise. You will also probably see a lot of turquoise and blue and purple, because those are the colors that my mom really likes. So I have to make stuff in her colors. So this is just knit on 5.5mm needles. There's no pattern for this, but what I did, I cast on 15 stitches. I probably would have liked 17 or 19 to get the right width, but like as you can see, it's decent width. But if I cast on 17 stitches, I would have to change skein, like to a new skein of yarn 3 rounds before the headband is, or like 5 rounds before the headband is long enough. So I just cast on 15. It works. My mom loves hers. My grandma loves hers. So it's not really a problem. And then I don't have to start a new skein, weave in twice as many ends, and have leftover yarn. I have made probably 25 of these headbands, but I still have a ridiculous amount of this yarn left. So when winter comes around and it will be craft fairs and stuff, you will probably see this headband a lot, because I still have like, I don't know, 25, 40, somewhere between 25 and 40 skeins left of this yarn. And they do sell well at markets. I charge, if anyone wonders, I'm not gonna like hide my prices, because I know how hard it was for me when I first started doing craft fairs to like to see what other people are charging. So I charge $2. It's probably like $12.50 or something for these, and they do sell quite good. I used to have them at $10, but even on clearance, the yarn for one headband is like $2, and it does take some hours to knit it. So I do now do $12.50 for one, or $22.50 for 2. A lot of people then just go for the 2-pack. So that's great. And then there is one of my favorite items. You will see this item a lot, both in children's and in adult size. It's these twisted headbands. So far this year, if I count with the children's size, I don't have anyone in children's size right now here, but I have made I think 70 of these headbands, of the twist headbands, if I count with the children's size. They're just really, really pretty. I do knit mine, I'm not gonna lie, I do knit these headbands on an adding machine, which is a circular knitting machine. The reason is, I started knitting a couple of these on DPNs in the round, but I didn't like the height of them, I didn't like the stretch in them, and it took me a ridiculous amount of time to just make one. So I got an Addy after watching Taylor of Tailored and Crochet. I might actually link her below, because I think she's a really great YouTube channel and has a really great blog on like knitting and crochet and selling your stuff and stuff. So I'm gonna link her below. But yeah, so if you don't know what an addy is, I can maybe show you next time. But right now I'm sitting in the kindergarten. I already had like 4 boxes to carry with me, so I was like, no, my addy is staying at home. And it goes, and now we're gonna, a lot of people, if you're gonna be like, oh, she made it on an addy, she didn't knit it. She didn't make it, and it's a knitting machine. Well, the truth is, you still have to crank. And I think it's like 12 rounds where you crank your hand, is 1 round around. And then after you finish it, I'm gonna show you on the inside. You have to crochet or sew first the end of the tubes together, and then you can like sew it until where you get the twist. If anyone is curious, I can show you how to make the twist in a video here. Just mention it in the down bar or send me a message and I will show you how to make the twist. It's really simple. It's a bit fiddly the first time, but it's really simple once you get the hang of it. So I have these two, a grey one, a grey one and a green one. And this is, I know a lot of US knitters use worsted weight yarn. This is a thick worsted or an Aran weight. You can get this yarn. I don't know if you can get it in the US, but in Canada you can get it. It's called Drops Air. I know Espace Tricot has this yarn. And if you haven't tried it, please do me a favor, go and get this yarn. It's so freaking soft and it makes for really warm and nice headbands. I'm not gonna say that I know what the yarn is made of. I think it's 100% wool, but it's like a blow yarn. It might not be 100% wool, but I think it is. So you can go check that out if you want, if you like. And as I said, you will see a shitload of these headbands. You have the 2 that I showed you, and then there is all of this. There's 3, there's 8 more, so I have 10 in this box with me out today that I made in June so far. There is 2 more of the grey one. I know, obviously know this is a green one, but I keep calling it a grey. 2 more of the grey one. Then there is 1 yellow. And this, you can't really see the yellow, but this yellow has been really hard to come by occasionally, so I'm just really glad I got some before it was getting hard to find it. Then I have 2 of this pink color, and then I have 1 of this blue. I have 1 more of this, but that's probably inside that I made in this month. Then I have 2 of this really nice baby blue. All of these are Drops Air, and I would just really recommend go and get that yarn if you can. It's super soft. I really love using it for sweaters and stuff. If you are making a sweater out of that yarn, because you could, and it's super freaking soft, be aware that the yarn will stretch a bit. So I wouldn't knit it to the full length that you wanted. I would stop maybe like 2, maybe even 3 inches above where you want it to stop, because it does stretch. I did that mistake on my first sweater in that yarn. I knitted the full length that I wanted it, and now it's ridiculously long. Of course, making a sweater that's large as well as long, it's gonna pull a bit more, but that yarn does pull a bit in garments, so just be aware of that if you want to make a sweater in it. It will also probably stretch a little bit in the width, but not as much. So if you're in between 2 sizes, maybe go down a size, but I just knit my typical size and it usually fits in the width in that yarn. It doesn't stretch a lot in the width. Then I have so much to show you. This hat, it's just some knits and some pearls. 3 to 8 years old. 100% merino, knit on 4mm needles. Really nice. I don't know if I said it, but it's 3 to 8 years old. I also really do love knitting this hat. It's just really simple and just straightforward until you start to do creases. So it's perfect for like car knitting. Depending on where you work knitting. I work several different places, but one place I work the night shift, and in the night shift you're just supposed, at least where I work, you're just supposed to sit as still as you can. Don't make any sounds. Don't breathe too loud unless someone needs help. Then you're just supposed to sit still because you're not gonna make any sounds to wake any people up. And then it's really nice to have something that you can just knit. No thinking, just knit. So if someone wakes up and you just have to throw it away, you can just start when they go to sleep or the next day again. So I really like this. And then I have 2 more of the bubble cowl. This is my first attempt. I was really into the Pasquini and the yarn for that. So as you can see, this is really chunky. I did not like this size at all. And it's just too chunky. I don't know. I don't like this size. I don't like this thick of a cowl either. So that was the first test of that. But I'm not gonna pull it out because I'm sure there are some people who like it. I still did the work. It's just $3 in yarn. I can either like donate it. I'm sure there are people who needs some warm items in the winter that can't afford to buy exactly what they want. I can donate it, or I can have, I've been thinking about this a long time, having a sale basket at the craft fairs, because I have some items that are like this. I tried, it didn't work, or it worked, but it didn't work as I wanted it to. And there's also some items that I used to sell 3 years ago, that there are a lot of mosquitoes and a lot of neighbors outside right now. I'm sorry. I just keep looking over like, which one of my neighbors was out now? So yeah, but I have like these items that either didn't work out as I wanted them to, and like I just have one off, or some items that I did sell in craft fairs 3 years ago or 2 years ago that I no longer make. I just have like a few left of those items. Like I started doing some twist hats in adults in this yarn on 4mm needles, but they take a lot of time to make, and most of the people who buy those hats, those exact hats, are older women. And as I sold more items and done a few more craft shows, and also listened a lot to Taylor of Tailored and Crochet and Ashley of A Crafty Concept and their live chats in their Facebook group, Ash and Tay Crochet on Facebook. You can Google that. I really like the group. Just go and join it. It will change your life if you sell finished items or just want to be part of a great community or design or like anything, because I think that is the definitively the most positive group I've been in, like at least that comes to knitting and stuff like that. When I first started joining knitting and crochet or like any craft groups on Facebook, I was so sure it was gonna be nice, there wasn't gonna be any drama, but it turns out, at least in the Norwegian groups, there is a lot of drama. So I'm just really happy I found that group, and there is no drama. I've seen like one post one time, and I've been in there a long time, that was like starting drama, but the moderators there are like, we don't want drama, so we're just gonna delete the drama, we just want positive things. Because the drama isn't gonna do anything other than like, we're gonna tear each other down, and we don't need that. None of us need that. We need positivity. Negativity and drama isn't gonna do anything for any one of us. So if you're looking for a positive Facebook group, knitting and crochet, or any other crafts, join that Facebook group. It's really amazing. And also, if you wonder about like selling finished items or writing patterns, also join that group. There's a lot of help to get in the group. No, but as I was saying, when I started that rant, as you will probably understand, I'm a chatty person. And one of the reasons why I haven't started a podcast sooner is because I've been thinking like, oh, but most podcasts are like 30 minutes and longer. Most are even like an hour or longer. And I'm not going to be able to sit there and talk to myself for an hour. Well, it's been 36 minutes so far. I'm still here talking to myself. And I still have a lot to show. So, yeah. But as I was talking about, these finished items that I just have one off or that I'm going to stop selling. I want to go down on the amount of different items that I carry in my shop just to make my booth look nicer. And also not have as many stuff in so many colors that I need to make. Because I found that there's a lot of the same colors that I go and grab. And you will see that in my Inquisitions. Is that what it's called? Like the yarn that I bought, and I'm going to show it to you. Even I'm just going to show it to you quick because I don't think a lot of you have access to this yarn, but I'm just going to show it to you, like what I got. So it's just like to make my shop or my booth look cleaner. So I'm just going to have either a sale basket, or I'm probably going to donate some and then have some in a sale basket. So that's that. And then we are back to the Drops Air yarn. This is the second cowl of that I tried. It's a bit too wide for my liking. It's the right height, but it's too wide. And if you look at it close, you can't really see the bubbles in this. And it was a pain, a huge pain to make the bubbles, because the yarn, it just stuck to each other. Because I think this is 100% wool, Drops Air. So it was a pain to pick up when you knit for it below. It was just a pain, but I love the yarn. I'm gonna use this for myself, because even though it's a little bit too wide, it's super soft, it's super warm, and we're out a lot on work. And I live in northern Norway. It's cold. I need warm stuff to keep me warm. And then I just have a few more finished items. As I said, I counted 45 or 50 finished items this month, from June 1st until now. So yeah, I'm sorry. I have these headbands. That one is still in Drops Air, as you see. I love the yarn. It's just, for doing some projects, it doesn't work because, or it works, but it takes a lot of extra effort, and I don't want to put that extra effort necessarily into all my projects. So this is a headband. 5 and 5.5 millimeter needles on both of these. Drops Air and Drops Nepal. Oh, it's supposed to be this way. This is the Hearts of Diamonds headbands, another one of my patterns. And it's perfect for using up scraps, leftovers, whatever you might have. As I said, this is an iron weight, but all my testers did it in worsted weights. They used Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek, Handmade Modern. There are some more yarns they used, and it will say in my Ravelry, but I don't remember all the yarns. You use, I want to say like 60 meters of the main color in adult, and 20 to 25 of the contrast color. So this was just something I started knitting, trying to use up my scraps, because if you've been a knitter for a long time, you know you will have a lot of these half skeins and less. And I want to use as much as I can. I do donate a lot of my yarn that I know I'm not going to use, and it's like scraps, half skeins, or some yarn that I didn't like enjoy knitting with. I do donate some of that to kindergartens. because they can do a lot of fun projects with the yarn that I don't want to use. So this is the Hearts of Diamonds headbands. Perfect for if you want to like test fair isle knitting. As you will see, there is never, well, there is on row 1 and row 13, but like other than that, there is never more than 3 stitches of the same color after each other, so you don't have to worry about the long runs in the back. You don't have to worry about twisting the stitches or like twisting the yarn, carrying the yarn, because there is never more than 3 stitches except on 2 rounds on this headband. So it's really perfect if you want to try fair isle knitting, or you're just an advanced knitter with a lot of stash yarn to use up. I knit one of these in less than 2 hours. I haven't timed myself, but I know it's less than 2 hours because I was watching a movie. I think it was 2 hours and 10 minutes. I don't remember what movie it was, but I was done quite a bit before the ending. So really great for stash, using up your stash, and if you're a beginner, to test out fair isle knitting. And as I said, being a knitter for so long, I'm only 21, soon to be 22, but I've been knitting a long time. And I'm going to tell a bit more about that in the a Q&A bit at the end here. I have a lot of like small bits of yarn, that be from my sweaters, from headbands, from like when my mom knits sweaters. She's like, I have half a skein left, I'm just gonna put it in a bag and never see it again. I'll be like, no, okay, if you're not gonna use it, I can take it, and I'm sure I can find a use for it. So that's how this pattern came to be a thing. It's again Drops Air. I seem to have a ton of that yarn. It's a dark green, a like olive green, and like, you can't really see it, but it's like a beige, a really light beige color. And it's super fast to knit. It uses, I don't know, half a skein of the main color in adult. When I say half a skein now, I mean like 75 meters, 50 grams of this color of the stripes. When I did it like this, I want to say the pattern does state the amount, but I can't remember it. I want to say in this hat like 30 meters of the dark green and 20 of the light green or something. But if you have even smaller leftovers, you can do this. This is the same hat in children's size, but look at that. It's such a tiny bit of yarn in each color. It's super duper nice. And this is, I have to say, this choice of colors is inspired by the Alt blir bra, Norwegian kind of thing, which basically means all is gonna get well. After Corona came, and the kindergartens closed, the schools closed, and all the kids were at home, people started painting rainbows on their windows and saying like, all is gonna get good, and writing it on their windows. And so this is inspired by seeing all of those rainbows. My neighbor has a young girl, and they had it in their window, and it was just a really nice reminder. Even though I know in the end everything is gonna get good, and I do stay inside. I don't go outside unless I like have to, because I'm not scared for myself. And maybe I should be because I have asthma and I'm in the danger zone, but I'm not scared for myself. But I don't want to have it on my conscience that I didn't follow the quarantine rules. I had just had to go to the mall and go shopping or to a concert or whatever, and I wasn't sick myself, but I carried the sickness and either gave it to like a normal person and someone got sick and died, or if I carry it with me to work. So it was just a really nice reminder whenever I was out with my dog and walked past her window, like just seeing that rainbow, because I self-quarantined pretty hard. We weren't like, at some point they advised us to it, but now they're like kind of opening up. Everyone is going back to their normal lives. I'm still trying to not be as much around people. I will go out a bit more, but I'm scared of, not for myself, but because I work in the, like, taking care of elder and sick people. I'm honestly terrified every time I go to work to not be sick myself, but to carry it to them. So I try as much as I can to not be around people. And if I do go outside, I try and keep distance and don't touch anything that I don't have to touch. I know a lot of people in Norway think that's insane. But yes, we don't have as much contagion here in Norway right now. But I think the reason is we closed down everything for a month or two. If we didn't, we could have been where America is right now, which is the numbers still climbing. So I'm taking the quarantine rules pretty severe still. So that's that. Which is also why you see I have a crazy amount of knitting every month. I'm going to try and do this podcast every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, because I can see I'm at 47 minutes and I'm not done. I'm like halfway. And here's another one, same colors, size male, or a Victoria sized head, which is huge. My head is so large, it's getting ridiculous, and I have a shit ton of hair as well. So that's that. And then now I have some more exciting stuff to show you. I know it's been like a lot of headbands and hats and like smaller items, but I finished this yesterday. Ta-da! It's a sweater. It's the same one that I'm wearing, which is the No Frills sweater by Petite Knit. And it's really pretty. I knit this with one strand of merino fingering and one strand with mohair. This one is knit on 3.5 and 3 and 3.5 millimeter needles. The story behind this exact sweater, when the pattern first came out, I knit one in this yarn combo in green for myself, and my mom was like, "Oh, that's so nice, I want one." So we ordered the yarn for her as well. And she knitted pretty fast to she knit the body and the yoke, because it's top down. And she'd separated for the sleeves and she'd knit to the bottom. But then she put it away. I don't know if steam ran out or what. So she was like, "Oh," whenever I was wearing mine, she was like, "Oh, I wish I finished mine." So I said to her, "Well, give it to me. You know I can have it done in a day or two." It was both sleeves left. And this is what happens when I knit. I run out of steam. Just getting started on something is a pain. The pain with this was she didn't know what size she was knitting. And me being super duper lazy, I didn't want to count. So I just never started. Because without the size, I didn't know how many decreases to make on the arms or how long to make them. So it sat in my closet for a year. And I took it out, not yesterday, but the evening before at 8 p.m. And I knit one sleeve. And then I took it out yesterday morning. I got up early to do this. I knit the second sleeve. So I'm just going to secure the ends and then I'm going to give it to her probably tomorrow. I didn't weave in any of the ends yet, but I just had to show it because I'm super happy. This is my favorite, all-time favorite sweater pattern. It just fits at least my body really nice. It's good in the arms, it's not too loose, it's not too tight. It has a nice fit. This one is, the gauge is too tight on this. It's supposed to have a bit more positive ease. but I'm too lazy to swatch. I still like it even though it's tighter than it's supposed to be. So I knit this for my mom, and this is kind of a transition into the whips because this is finished but it's not finished. I have to be in the ends. And probably some people are gonna ask, well, aren't you gonna block it? Probably not. We don't I say we, but like me and my mom, we don't block things unless it's like these hats. If they were knit tightly in color work, I would have blocked them. Or if it's like a sweater with color work, Fair Isle, I would block it just to make it even. But I don't think all items should or need to be blocked. I don't think all items need to be blocked. If it was a shawl and I block it to size or shape, go for it. I'm just too lazy, and when I finish knitting something, I just want to put it on straight away. So this will probably not get blocked. I bet she's gonna wear it to work this week. And she doesn't care. I don't care. At least with this kind of like one color sweater, I don't see the point. So this is one strand of kid silk. It's just like mohair. That's the word I was looking for. And one strand of Drops Baby Merino, which is a fingering 100% merino yarn. So that is that. And then, because like when I first start, I have a lot of motivation to just keep going. So when I was done with that sweater yesterday, I think I was done at like 3 p.m. Then I had the yarn for another sweater, like this one, the exact same yarn in a different color, for myself. I had that yarn for 2 years, lying in my boxes of yarn. And my goal for this year is to have less yarn in my stash than what I did January 1st. It doesn't matter like how much less yarn, as long as it's less. I don't want my stash to increase this year because I have a ridiculous amount of yarn and our apartment is pretty small. So then I cast on this yesterday at like, I don't know, 4 p.m. maybe, and I was up knitting until 1 a.m. on this. There is so yesterday I knit until there. I'm almost ready to separate for the sleeves. I think I have like 7 more increases to do before I'm ready for the sleeves. And so yeah, this is just a progress keeper that I put where I was yesterday when I put it down. I'm just gonna leave it there until next time, but it's just regular, the no frill sweater, same as I'm wearing, same as the blue one, but this is knit at a looser gauge because I want it to be a bit more of the positive is that this one doesn't have, because I knit this on smaller needles. So I'm almost ready to separate for the sleeves, and I knit all of this in like basically yesterday from 3 p.m. until I went to bed at 1 a.m. Because today I've been with a friend all day, a friend from Oslo who came north. She actually came to visit her boyfriend, but she messaged me and was like, hey, you want to do something? And I haven't seen her for years. So I was like, of course. So I haven't knit on this today. This is all yesterday's knitting. And I can't wait to show it to you. My goal is to get it done this week. It's Tuesday today and I'm going to work tomorrow. And when I work at this job, I work 14 hours a day. So maybe not, but like before I podcast next time, I want this to be done. Because this is my favorite sweater of all times, and I just want another one. I use this one all the time. It's so nice. And it just fits me. So I have a lot of like motivation on that right now, which is why I knit like from here to almost down here on that yesterday. And then I have another sweater here. I haven't knit on this. Well, this is like kind of the same thing as the sweater from my mom's. I started and I have a lot of steam. I knit all of what you're gonna see now in 3 days. I knit the body, or most of the body, at home, and then I went to a friend. I brought 5 skeins of yarn, 5 Norwegian skeins, so 250 grams of yarn, to go to my friend's house. I thought that was gonna be enough for or like overnight visit, but I ran out of yarn. And then when I got home, I didn't have the steam anymore. So this is done in 3 days, just to show you like when I start, I knit. I'm sorry for the crinkling, by the way. So this is going to be a Marius sweater. This is knit from bottom up. This is the body. It's almost at the length it needs to be. A little bit longer, but I ran out of yarn. I have the yarn, but I didn't bring it with me, so I ran out of steam. I'm gonna show you just the arms as well. And then I knit, I'm sorry for the noise on the ground, but I'm sitting on a tiny bench. It's hurting in my ass. And I just have to stretch my legs, like move around. But I know it's making a lot of sound, and my phone is probably picking it up. And here is sleeve number 1. This is the right length, actually. So I just have to put the body and the arms together so I can start the Fair Isle knitting. And here is the other arm, almost done. So the reason I'm showing this, I haven't knitted it since March last year. I knitted in 3 days in March last year, what you see there. I'm showing it to try, it probably won't work, but I'm showing it to try and hold myself accountable so that I will get it done. And because I know if I just start it, even though it's Fair Isle, it's a huge sweater, it's size me. I just have from here on up. And it's Fair Isle and it's decreases, so like it's just gonna go faster and faster. On the last sweater like this I knit the entire top section of Fair Isle in, I think it was 2 days. So I know if I just start, I will have it done. This is knit on, and also another reason I need it done is because I need the needles. And I know if I put this on like a yarn leftover, I'm never gonna put it back on the needles and finish it. My first ever sweater that I started, I went with quite a good amount of like motivation on that as well. And I think I knit it in a week and got to the same point as I'm on with this blue. I knit the arms and I knit the body, but I need to connect it and join it and start the Fair Isle. And I put that on needles, no, on like yarn leftovers, because I needed the needles. I think that's been on like a yarn leftover for 7 or 8 years, maybe 9. Yeah, so I don't want to put this on just a bit of yarn, because I'm never gonna put it back on. I know myself. It's been 8-ish years on the other sweater, which is the same sweater as this. It's also a Marius, but it's black. So I probably should finish that as well. And then I'm not gonna show it because I don't have it here. I have it at my mom's house. I have another Marius sweater that it's done knitting, but we don't have a sewing machine. Or we have a sewing machine, but it's like really old, so it's kind of difficult to work with. And we don't know how to steek. We've done it a couple of times, but it's so long between each time we do it that we forget it. I have another Marius sweater that is done, knitted. I just need to like seam it together up on the sleeves and cut in for the arms and sew them in, and it will be done. And then I also have another Marius. You can see I really like the same patterns here over and over. I have another Marius jacket and like a kofta. as we say in Norwegian, for my grandma. It was gonna be for her 70th birthday. She's now turning, I think, 75. It's done knit. I just have to cut it open in the front, put in a zipper, cut and place the sleeves. So, well, now I mentioned it, I have to get it done. I keep telling myself, at least. I know my mother-in-law, or my boyfriend's mom, she knows how to do this. So I'm kind of thinking, if I take the jacket and ask her for help, she will probably help me. I'm just lazy and I don't want to ask for help. But I should probably do that so it gets done. And she can have it for her 76th birthday or Christmas this year. Yeah. My goal is, at least, I mentioned it, so I want to show it finished. And I hope that I will at least get... That's 3 sweaters that are like really finished, but they aren't finished because I'm too lazy to do the last bit. And then I have a cast on. I don't have the exact yarn here. Oh, actually I have 2 more works in progress. I didn't see them. This is just a set of like oven mitts, like to take out of the oven with, so you don't burn your hands. It's just knit on thick cotton. I think this cotton is meant to be on like 5mm needles solo. I'm doing 2 strands on 5mm needles, so they're really thick. You don't burn yourself with this. I can't knit this fast enough. Like, once I get them off my needles, someone wants them. So these are a birthday gift for my grandma. Her birthday is in like 9 days, so I just need to weave in the ends. And again, just getting the steam and finishing the ends is a problem. I will probably do it same day as her birthday or the same day as the party, and weave it in like 10 minutes before we go. But I knit this, and this I knit a lot of. I also have 10 more pairs of these lying with the yarn, but I'm not going to show all 10 pairs. I'm just going to show this, and I'm maybe just going to show it like I did with the headbands, like, oh, I have this color, when I actually weave in the ends. I just wanted to show one of these to you. You just cast on this. There isn't really a pattern. You just cast on, I think I used 55 stitches. You knit 1 round, and then every other round you decrease in the middle here. Two stitches together on each side of the middle stitch. And then you just continue doing that every other round until you get to the top. Crochet a thing to hang it on the wall, and you're done. Really easy. If you want to make this, just ask me and I will try and write it up for you and just send it to you on an email or something, because I really want people to be able to knit this, because they're really pretty. I'm not going to write up a pattern because the idea is taken from another pattern, so I'm not going to write up a pattern. Well, the idea is a combined version of like a crochet one and something I saw a while back. So I'm not going to write up a pattern because it is not my idea. But if anyone wants to know how many I cast on and stuff, just send me a message and I will let you know. Because I want as many people as possible to like be able to enjoy that. And then I have this, which is going to be a cowl. It's just like faux braids. It's not braids, it's just like you slip 1 stitch, you knit the next 2, then you pull the slipped stitch over, and then on the next round you knit, you do like a, I don't know, you toss the yarn over the needles, I don't know what that is in English, to create the holes, and you get that stitch back again. So that's that. This is gonna be a cowl. It might be actually a pattern for a cowl and a hat. I know it's super simple this, but when I was first started knitting, or basically until like this year, till March this year, I hated trying to do something. Like, I could have the idea in my head, I wanted a cowl or a hat with these braids, and I looked for patterns. I couldn't find it because it's so simple. Everyone is probably like, wow, you can just cast on some stitches and do it. But I hated trying and failing. Like if I had to pull this out, I hated it. So even though this is a really simple pattern, I think I will write it up just so not everyone has to do the like test and fail method and get angry and pull their hair out. A really simple cowl. Again, the same yarn as the other one, 5.5mm needles. Yeah, so really pretty. And then my favorite part of everyone's podcasts. You're not gonna enjoy this maybe because you can't get this, but I just want to show it really quickly. I ordered some yarn. And the reason I ordered this yarn was because I needed the thick yarn for the cowls and the bubble hat to design them. I had the idea. I had tried it. You saw the bubble cowl with 2 other yarns, but it didn't work as I wanted it to, so I had to order some yarn. So I got this yarn, which is the Du Store Alpaca Big Stark. You can't get it in the US, but I just want to show it in case anyone from Norway is watching. In these 4 colors, 6 skeins of each. And this is, I don't think I said it, but this sweater and the grey one is the same yarn as this, just in a thinner version. I don't think I said that, but it's, I knew I liked this yarn, but when I feel this thicker version of the same yarn, it is super duper soft. Like, I just want to do like this and curl with it. It's so soft. I don't think you understand. So my new favorite yarn, I got 6 skeins in each color of these 4 colors. I already used up all the yellow except this one. I have a couple skeins of the blue left. Then I have like this and this left. I started on this, but this they haven't started yet. I maybe want to do Stephen West's Boneyard shawl. I think it's called Boneyard. It's a free pattern by West Knits on Ravelry. It's his first ever pattern. I think this yarn is too thick for that. I think I need like this thickness of yarn, a DK yarn. But I could just knit that shawl on thicker needles and use this yarn. So I kind of want to do that. And as you see, the color, again me. And then I also got this fuzzy yarn. I think you can kind of see it. This yarn is 100% alpaca, and it's like, it's really fuzzy. I ordered this with the intention of knitting a scarf, a long infinity scarf. But the yarn isn't what I thought it would be. It's super soft, but I don't think I can get the look that I want with this. I have 4 skeins of this, so I have 200 grams of this. It's super soft. This is also one of those. I just want to cuddle it. It's so soft. I'm sure I'll find something to do with it. I might make... Okay, now they're in the bottom of the box. But I might make the headbands with this if I don't find anything else. I'm sure I can find up some patterns for scarves or cowls that uses this yarn. Or maybe even I get another color. Maybe a white or a gray, and I make a sweater with this yarn and the other yarn, and just maybe make the waves or something. I don't know. I love this yarn though. So that's the yarn that got here today, but there is 2 more boxes. So this is the box the yarn came in. As you see, it's quite big. I have another box that's the same size coming in. It will probably be here Monday. Same size box or bigger, because I ordered like 50 more skeins of yarn. I know, but it was a sale. It was 40% off. Yeah, it was 40% off. I had to get it. Some of that yarn is for some Christmas designs that I have in my head and I want to test. And you might be, well, it's July. Why are you starting Christmas stuff? Well, it takes time to test the idea, write the pattern, get it to testers, get it back, fix the mistakes, publish it. Then you have to, I don't know what the word is, like get it out to people, get people to see it. And I also want it to be like out and ready and done by maybe even September or October. Even though it's really Christmassy patterns, I want people to have the opportunity to actually make those items for Christmas gifts or markets if they do markets, or for their children to have ready when December starts to school. Some of the items are like for children. I do apologize for the cars. I know you can hear them, but we don't have like decent lighting inside, so I have to film outside, and there's a lot of neighbors outside every time I try to film. Like even the other day when I filmed the video for the braids, the drop stitch braids, and I've been looking out my window. I hadn't seen anyone for like half an hour. I go outside to film for 7 minutes, and I think there are like 5 people walking by, some dogs and some cars. So yeah, the neighbors always come out when I try to do something. Or even if I go outside, just take pictures of items, or like for patterns, like I can guarantee you there are gonna be people outside in that exact moment. So then I just got a question on Instagram. I just want to answer this really quickly. My Instagram, by the way, is at VIM, like an underscore thing, and designs. I will link it below so you can see it. But someone asked, how long have I been knitting? Because they saw that I was calling out for testers on some of my patterns. And they were like, oh, I also want to try that, but I'm scared I'm too new. A new knitter to do that. I would say you're never too new to make patterns. If you have an idea that's original, you can make a video tutorial, or if you really want to write it down and you can't, just ask for help. There are a lot of really good knitters out there who would love to help. So either just ask, if that's you, just ask for help, just do it. Sometimes it's best for advanced beginners to show things to beginners, because advanced beginners, they remember how it was to be a beginner and how they needed to see things to learn it, and they can maybe explain it in a really easy way so that the beginner can understand it. So I don't think there's ever too early to start. And if you can't write the pattern, do a tutorial, do a video where you show like, okay, so this is what I did. I'm sure you can do it. You don't need a super good setup or anything. I have a $25 tripod and a phone. I don't have anything else, and I have just a white tablecloth. You can use a white curtain on the table. You can use like bed sheets. Like you can use anything that's like a light background and do it. So just do it. And for the question when I started knitting, the first time I knit, I was 4. I was 3 or 4 years old. My grandma's current boyfriend showed it to me. I remember sitting in his lap and I knit a scarf. It was really ugly, but it was my first ever knit and I loved it. Then I didn't knit again until I was in like, I think I was 8 or 9 years old, and we knit in school. And after all those mosquitoes, and after that, I had maybe 2-3 years of break, maybe even 4. Then I was like 11, 12. I really started knitting again. That's when I knit the black sweater that I'll maybe show you next time. That still isn't done. And in high school, I had to move away for high school because yeah, I live really far away from the nearest high school, or I lived. Now when I live with my boyfriend, it's like, it's close, but where I lived, it was an hour and a half by bus each way to the high school. So I moved, I lived by myself, and all my friends were like they had shoes and clothes under their beds. Well, Victoria, she had yarn under her bed. I was 15 years old and my apartment was full of yarn. I'm not kidding. And yeah, I've been like really seriously knitting since high school, like serious knitting. And it got really bad the last 4 years because I got sick last year of high school. And I'm not going to go into detail, at least not now, maybe in a future episode. This episode is so long already, but I got sick and I just wasn't in shape to go outside and be with people or do a lot of stuff because I would get sick so easily. Like, not sick, I was sick, but like I would feel it. Like, I still do a couple hours out with people and I'm really exhausted. Or like going to the shop, I can be really tired when I get home. I can still sleep 16 hours a day, no problem, but I'm better now. So yeah, last year of high school I didn't go out as much, and like just to have something to do, this knitting got out of control. That's why I had to start doing craft fairs and stuff. And my hands don't like me. They hate me for knitting sweaters and stuff because my hands are really hurt. I do take medicine for it, but it's not really working as it should be. It's helping a little bit in the winter, but not in the summer. So my hands really don't like me when I knit sweaters. But I can't knit 200 and something headbands a year. So I also really like wearing knitted sweaters. So I knit some sweaters, but not as many as I would like, or as many big projects as I would like, because my hands just won't. My hands won't be friends with me. That's why I knit a lot of headbands and hats and those kinds of things. So, at the end of this episode, there will be, in this podcast, there will be eventually a Ravelry group, and there will also be some giveaways. And the first giveaways are probably just going to be my patterns, but in the future, if anyone like wants to donate items, they're happy to contact me, and I will do a giveaway with you, even if it's patterns, if it's finished items, or a course. I know some people have really good online knitting courses and online how to start a business, how to start a blog, like those kinds of courses. So if anyone wants to contribute, just contact me. But the first few giveaways are going to be my own patterns and maybe even some yarn. I want to give away probably like some of this yarn. I know a lot of you can't get it. I think it's freaking awesome, this yarn. So I want everyone to be able to have it. And the Ravelry group, as soon as I get it up, I will put it like down here so you can see. So like you can come and join. It'll probably just be me talking to myself, both in this video and also like in the Ravelry group. But I would love if like even just one person came over and said hi and we can talk yarn. Because I'm 21 and I live in a small community in northern Norway, there aren't a lot of knitters, at least not knitters my age. And I don't mind. I go to knit nights with people who are like 40, 50, 60. But I would just love talking to more people. And especially now when there are no knit nights. I'm just sitting at home watching podcasts and knitting. But I would just love to talk to other people about knitting. My boyfriend and my mom and my dad and my brother are really tired of hearing me like even just show them like, oh look, I finished this, and my boyfriend be like, okay, for the 10th time this day I finished whatever. So I would just love to have some, even just one person come over to my Ravelry and we will talk yarn, or we will talk patterns, or we will even talk, because I'm at home knitting by myself, we will even talk other podcasts, because I need something to watch when I'm knitting. And I just finished watching Lost. I caught up on most of the podcasts that I'm watching. I started re-watching the Yarn Hoarder podcast because I didn't have anything else to watch. I already watched Ash and Tay Tuesday Talks. I don't know, 3 times. Tailoring Crochet, her videos, 5, 6 times. Scrappy Sunday by Crazy Sock Lady, 3 times at least. So I just, if anyone wants to talk yarn, whether that's crochet or knit, or weaving or sewing, or patterns or podcasts, or even just TV shows that are good to just watch where you don't have to think that much. Like, I tried to watch Outlander, and I also tried to watch Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is too much thinking for me, at least while I knit, and Outlander took me a lot of time just to get into it enough that I could knit while watching it. So if anyone has like good TV shows, good TV shows that are like easy to pay attention to, send them to me. I am starting to run out of things to watch while I'm knitting. So like that's why I listen to a lot of these podcasts so many times already. So yeah, it's been 1 hour and 21 minutes. I'm still sitting in the kindergarten. People are looking at me. That isn't the worst thing. I'm sitting in a kindergarten at 10 p.m. talking to myself in English, showing knit items to my phone. Yeah, my neighbors are thinking I'm crazy, if they already didn't. So thank you for watching this episode. Links will be in the down bar, and I will probably put up some show notes in the down bar and also in the Ravelry when I get that going. Don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions, or if you just want to talk yarn or knitting or any other craft. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!